This is the GMS Magazine podcast, a podcast about board games, role-playing games, and the people who make them. Sometimes the people who play them too. I am Paco Garcia, your co-host.
This is Chris from DSX Machina, who thankfully has regained access to his business page, not my Cracker page, and I am still thousands of dollars short on my bank account, which we are still trying to get back.
What? Wait a second, I didn't know that. I knew about your social media accounts being stolen, but your bank account's been hacked?
So it turns out the Facebook was the least issue. The following Friday, I was driving around town with my wife picking up some stuff for the Crackers, and I saw a very erroneous Interact deposit. And then when I checked my business account, it was $10,000 short. So we raced to the bank to get a lock to put a deposit-only alert on it. And we went through it, and we found that somebody, the same person, the exact same person who hacked my Facebook account, also got access to my bank account and proceeded to, and jumped onto my business account, somehow got past two-factor authorization. We still trying to figure out how that worked out. And then proceeded to move money out of my business account to their account, the tune of $10,000 over the course of about, let's say about an hour. It started off with the strangest thing. They started off by depositing money, about $4,000, which is odd. And then they pulled out $9,000 and then proceeded to pull out another $2,000 every few minutes until they take about 10 grand out. So we got to the bank, put a stop on it. Passwords, all of my passwords were changed. All my accounts information was changed. My bank account is still locked as they are investigating. So I not only cannot access my money, I cannot even see my money. So, and this has been like this for about 2 weeks now. I'm actually headed to the bank after a little later today just to get an update, because they said I was supposed to have access to my bank account. We went to the bank account to enter new information, and they proceeded to not do that, which has been very frustrating. So I have to go back there and go, we went through the whole process to get access to my bank account, and you did not do that. So I'm now not sure what's supposed to happen. So yeah, I came clean to my backers, telling me what happened and that it's not going to affect everything, but it is a crisis that we are going through. But yes.
Wow. I blimey, that is appalling. I mean,
yes, exactly. So
transferring money to your account, I understand, because that's probably just a distraction tactic. And probably is money from an account that they're stealing from. So in theory, that means that you've been handling stolen money. Even though, of course, legally speaking, I don't think that they would have, you would have any kind of liability whatsoever. But the way these people, their modus operandi, according to, considering that I work in cybersecurity, is that they try to withdraw as much money as they possibly can in small amounts, smallish amounts, because that way they do not trigger any alarms. That there is a chance that if at some point a certain amount of money is being withdrawn from your bank would actually call you by phone to make sure that that is actually happening. So they avoid that by withdrawing smaller amounts that don't draw that much attention. So yes, that I think that is horrible.
Yeah, so like I said, I'm still stressed out. Obviously, a lot of anxiety. I'm unsure if I'm going to get my money back. They are sourcing it. I don't know what the chances are. I don't know the procedures, so I don't know if I'm going to see this money back. And it's stressful. Obviously, it could have been a lot worse, but it's still as bad. It could have been a lot worse, but it is bad enough to cause a lot of issues. If they stole $500, like whatever, they stole 1,000, I can deal with it. 10,000, just like, no, this actually hurts me. This hurts me. Exactly. This hurts me a lot. So when the security firm from the bank contacted me, and they were like, "So this one's erroneous." Like, we hit up a convention. And then we deposited these 2 deposits, one in cash, one that was direct deposit from Square. Those are legit. Everything else after that is fake. I go, yes, but there's a $4,000 deposit. I go, yeah, that's fraudulent as well. And the lady was just like, wait, that's a fraudulent deposit? Yeah, no, we did not deposit that money. Like everything past this point is entirely fake. Nothing past that has been legit. I'm like, but why did they deposit 4,000? I'm like, you tell me. I'm just telling you.
Yeah, the reason is that maybe that's money that they may have stolen from somebody else. And it's actually another way to make sure that they do have access to your account without having to double check or go through double authentication factor. The thing about that, I don't know what the law would be in Canada. I believe in the UK, sorry, in the UK and the EU, the law would say that the bank would have to make up for whatever because it is their security, unless they can prove that it was through negligence, through your negligence. The bank would have to refund you, basically, because it is their fault and your camera is gone.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that they say, look, like we can confirm that this was definitely on your end, which is what they're going to say. I'm going to say that's great, but you also know that I can't be with you guys anymore, so I have to close out my account and move all of this money and all this stuff. And Nicole's pretty frustrated about that because she knows that's what's going to happen. That we're going to have to close off all of our business accounts with this company and say, well, we're not going to be dealing with you anymore. We're going to go over to a rival bank and open an account because I can't. We cannot afford to do business with you. If that, regardless of who's to blame, this is the consequence. If you guys owned up to it, we would stay. But since you're not, we're not going to deal with this anymore. Even if you can prove 100% that this was an error on my part, I still cannot, So that's the unfortunate thing that, it's unfortunate.
That really sucks. By the way, your camera's gone off. You're aware of that, right?
The camera's gone off? It has gone off. Okay, let's just get that back on now, shall we?
I mean, I don't mind. I know what you look like already, but our viewers may be thinking, oh my God, the handsome of the two has gone. And that would be terrible. So anyway, we are actually right now dealing with some sort of, wow.
Yeah. Like literally as we were getting into this, this has kind of gone down. So why don't you go into details? You seem to know more about this than I do. So let's go into what you were going through.
Well, I've just seen a Facebook post from my friend Sarah Shah, who goes on Twitter by Puffindor. She is very well known for making very short, very quick videos explaining games in about 1 minute. 1 to 3 minutes. She's very, very quick and very good. For the record, I did meet her at Spiel, and she is as utterly adorable and absolutely wonderful as she looks in videos. We got along amazingly well, and I am very, very fond of her. So, yeah.
You're talking about Sarah Shah?
Yes. So, yes, I am biased because she's somebody that I think very, very highly of. Now, she's kind of looks like got in the middle of a problem because somebody called David Leavitt, who is a well-known Twitter asshole, the kind of asshole who will make RAPE jokes. And he made jokes about the bombing in the Ariana Grande concert.
He's an outrage journalist.
He's a guy with about 300,000 followers in Twitter, and we used to follow each other until I realized somebody told me what kind of asshole he is, and then I decided, I want straight the fake to do with you, mate. So. He has had the audacity of accusing Rodney from Watch It Played of being Islamophobic.
With no evidence, I might add. Like, there was nothing. The way he says it, it's one of the things I hate the most with people. The one thing I hate with the most with someone says, I'm not making accusations. I'm just passing on what I heard. I'm just saying I heard this. You can do your own research. And I'm like, you're literally part of the problem.
Well, exactly. That is the I'm not racist bot equivalent. And I'm sorry, but that just puts you in the asshole place.
Yeah,
That's not
if
how
not some way
done.
worse. If someone came up and just said, I'm making these accusations because I don't like this person. At least you're being honest. At least if you're trying to shield your way by saying it. It's the part that is so reprehensible that I the moment I started seeing his tweets, I immediately, because I hadn't heard of this guy. The moment I started seeing these tweets, I immediately was like, okay, I hate this guy. I hate this guy in so many ways. Before you even started sharing me some of his inflammatory tweets, the tweets that I saw and that people were posting, that Rodney was posting, I was just like, I hate this person on general principle.
He is not the nicest of people. So I mean, the thing is, humans, when Gail Simone comes in your defense, and she has come to defend Rodney, I'm sorry, but as far as I'm concerned, Gail Simone is kind of the Wonder Woman of Twitter. She is just close to perfect, as you can think of. So I'm sorry, but leave it. You are in the losing side automatically because you're an asshole. So anyway, that's happened. The thing that upsets me about this is that he has managed to put the name of Sarah in between, because at some point, Watch It Played blocked Sarah when she made a few accusations a few years ago about a company being Zionist. And she is very vocal pro-Palestine, as I am. And she doesn't withhold, she doesn't mince her words. So Watch It Played blocked her. I don't think they have talked about it. I don't know. But Leave It has used the fact that Watch It Played blocked Sarah to kind of imply that that is a sign that they are Islamophobic, which is bullshit at so many levels.
The part that I hate the most about this, and the thing is that someone will say like he like someone he couldn't be pulling this out of his ass. I can tell you exactly how the whole thing started, and without even knowing a single bit of information. This is the type of person that says, if I were to say, I don't believe in armed conflict. I don't believe that people should be forced to go to war, and I think that what we're seeing right now is tantamount to genocide, as you're dealing with the fact that you have innocent people, and the more innocent people are caught, at that point you're dealing with something where I'm like, well, these are war crimes. And the moment you say, I don't care who's doing the firing, if you're bombing schools, if you're bombing hospitals, and you're trying to justify it by saying, well, there's one terrorist leader inside this building, so we're going to bomb it, kill the civilians in order to get this one leader and try to justify it, you are a heinous war criminal. And the moment someone says, if I say something like that, someone says, well, you are anti-Semitic. And I'm like, why am I anti-Semitic? Was because you're criticizing Israel. You're anti-Semitic. And I'm like, I am not anti-Semitic by stating that statement. That statement is not an attack against Judaism. I know a lot of people who are Jewish that are absolutely incensed by this conflict. But that's where you think the moment says, so if I say I am an atheist, someone will automatically saying you're anti-Christian, you're an anti-Semite, because the moment you say I criticize organized religion, I criticize people who use religion as a justification to anything heinous or violent, they'll take that as an affront. So in that video that Rodney posted, he said he has issues with organized religion, probably the exact same that a lot of people is. He's Canadian, and Canadians have there's a large majority, a large group of Canadians are non-religious, non-practicing, or agnostic or atheist. And the same thing with Europe. I mean, the non-practicing, agnostic, atheist, non-religious people, that large commune of different beliefs or decisions in life, that is this growing and is becoming a majority in a lot of places. So him saying at that point, I have issues with religion, that tells me right off the bat, I go, what you're a critical thinker who's made a decision to walk away from religion for a variety of reasons that I can tell you right now without knowing anything more other than what I know about Rodney himself, I greatly respect. And someone took that by saying he's anti-religious because he criticized religion, which means I can call him an anti-Semite, I can call him anti-Islamic, just because he has a criticism on religion as a general statement. And that is one thing I hate more than anything, is someone taking a stance against religion as an attack on religion, an attack on people and their belief systems, which is so completely untrue.
You know, there's one thing that I did the other day, and this is, I don't talk about the Israel-Palestine conflict because I don't know enough about it, and I only wanted
There should be a board game about it, and then we will.
Probably there will be, but I just want Israel to stop doing the shit they're doing because they're doing an awful lot of shit. That's it. That's it. And I support the Palestinian people unreservedly because they are the one paying for this, not Hamas. But the other day, somebody told me about, but these human shields. Hamas is using human shields, so Israel has to do it because human shields and Hamas is doing this. So I did pose the opposite question. So, okay, give me a minute. If the Hamas leaders were inside a hospital in Tel Aviv, would you support the same level of attack and the same amount of casualties that you support now?
What a good thing to say. I got to remember that next time someone brings that up with me.
Because if you don't, then it's not that you care about Israel getting rid of Hamas's leaders. It's that you care about Israel killing Palestinians, and you put the life of Israelis
that means
above. Yeah. So that is your agenda. So don't tell me that. Don't tell me that a tactic is good for one but not for the other, because that makes very, very clear what
you're basically
kind of person
saying
you are.
that some people, some humans are systematically just worth more than other humans. If the grand leader of Hamas, and I don't know much about, if the leader of Hamas turns out was hiding out in a Catholic church in New York, would Israel then be justified to destroy that church in New York? And everyone says, well, human shields. You're basically stating that Palestinians are themselves beneath some other groups of people, which is how genocides function. Like, that's the first step of a genocide. Point at a specific group of people and tell them that they are under you and therefore not deserving of the same rights.
Correct. So,
but that's off the point. But point is, I'm saying is that as a result of, so I can guarantee you, someone said Rodney is anti-religious. So Rodney criticized religion in a game of telephone. Rodney is anti-religious. Rodney hates religion. Rodney is an anti-Semite. That basically is the steps. It's the game of telephone. And the time it gets to somebody, is like, oh, this is great. Rodney's beloved. I can do the outrage and blast it. And the funny thing is, being a journalist, he can't hide behind "I heard a thing," because at that point you have to vet your source, which means he hasn't. Obviously, he's taken this information and jumped on it. And as a result of that, we are in a situation where theoretically, like if this guy was in Canada, living in Canada with Rodney, Rodney would be calling his lawyers, and this guy would be in a lot of trouble because there's a lot of laws in Canada to protect people like that. I imagine this guy's probably American, and that's not surprising me at all. Anytime I see someone that gets into a massive amount of outrage and gets massively triggered, I go, "You're American, aren't you?" It's unfortunate that it happens too often. But yes, that was unfortunate news to get today. I actually had a whole bunch of others, but not nearly as sudden and as shocking as that one.
Well, to be honest, I just saw this literally 3 minutes before we started. In fact, as you said, hi, Paco, let me into this call, is when I first heard of it. So it's been that immediate. So anyway, let's go on to hopefully more fun matters and issues.
So I have here a couple Kickstarters have jumped up, which I thought was very interesting, and we'll get into. So Nemesis, for I think the third time, is coming to GameFound. It's coming to crowdfunding on GameFound because Awaken Realms doesn't use Kickstarter anymore. On November 23rd, so Thursday.
That's the day after tomorrow, as we record.
Yes,
it may be today when this is released. Humans,
yes,
this is a double time loop.
$2 or $3 million.
Yes,
is going to be my guess. I don't think they're going to hit the highs of the previous ones, But yeah, Nemesis Retaliation coming November 23rd. I don't know much about it. I'll accept the fact that I have no interest in this because I think Awakened Realms have proven time and time again that they love the flashbang of their game's presentation without actually giving their games a lot of background and testing.
Before you continue, can I ask you a favor? What can we do to keep track of the polls that we're making here about how much money Kickstarters are going to make? Because we always do this, and then I forget how much money I said, what company. I completely forget it, and I am not going to go back into episodes to try and remember. So what
I'll write it down. So I'm going to say Nemesis is going to make 2 million.
2 million. Okay, I say in game found, Awakened Realms, 2 million. I'm going to say 2.5.
Okay. All right, then we'll see who's closest without. So we'll see. Today also today at the recording, which is a Tuesday, a Food Chain Magnet Special Edition has come out. It has already hit 419,000 euros from 1,500 backers. I've always been tempted in the game, but I've never gotten it. Meanwhile, a friend of mine, Jonathan Thwaites, has put out Stars Vicarios 1.5 plus new content. This has already crossed 1,000 funded. They're at 618,000 US. This one is interesting. For those people who do know, this game is a game that combines two titles mechanically. It combines a Gloomhaven and what is the other one? Seven Continent. So it combines those two titles into a sci-fi format. It has a lot of minis, most of which I actually have painted. Thankfully, I've actually painted these minis. But there was a lot of criticism on the game, specifically from No Pun Included. Hit the game hard. The game was getting pretty good reviews, and then No Pun Included came out and viciously slaughtered them on their video. They basically called it one of the worst high-profile games they've ever played. They criticized numerous technical issues, numerous production errors that I have yet to encounter, because even though I've owned the game for a year and a half, I have yet to play it. But numerous issues. And so now they're coming out with a 1.5. And I really have issues whenever a game, to the point that I get really concerned whenever a game comes out and it's known to be buggy, which is the reason why I'm kind of holding off on a lot of Kickstarter games. And that's what happened with the Thing game. They put out a updated version where they fixed certain issues, and I was just like, it would be nice. Are you backing for the update? It's like, I really shouldn't have to back the fix to my game. Video games at least have a hot patch. They don't say you have to buy the patch to make the game work. At least video games will put out a patch. The fact that you have to purchase the patch for these games is very frustrating. I really don't like it.
So
I don't know.
That makes it sound like they did the Kickstarter to get the playtest done and then release the final game done.
Yeah. So now they have the 1.5 edition, which I assume fixes all their flaws. And then they also have new content as well. I don't know what the new content is, just because even right now as it stands, I haven't checked what the differences are with the 0.5, other than the fact that I assume they have fixed their issues. I'm going to hope that they have an upgrade pack that allows you to fix the previous one. I can't remember what game it was where they said that there were so many things that they had to change in the game that they had to release a brand new game. I can't remember what that was.
Wow, that is quite something.
Yeah. So there's something called the Gameplay Pledge, which is $200. The Everything New, which is $100, which is just the new content. That's a frustrating thing. So there's a Gameplay Pledge, which is the core game. So if you haven't owned it, you pick that one. If you just want the new stuff, it's $100 US. And it's the Battle Vicarios, Drones Vicarios, all extra content with included unlocks. So this is, if you have Vicarios like I do, this is what you would get. However, what they also have is the 1.5 upgrade pack. You cannot purchase the upgrade pack on its own. You can only get either the core game, everything new, everything new gameplay, which is confusing, and then the ultimate pledge, which is everything, and then the all-in. The all-in pledge, by the way, if you haven't played this game, the all-in pledge is $370 US.
I'm going to need you to send me the link because Google just played something on me. I just looked for Ocario's Kickstarter. Okay, and I wrote it to the best of my abilities. And Google came back with, did you mean Ovario's Kickstarter? And no, I did not mean ovaries, Google. Really, I really did not.
I just sent it to you on WhatsApp. So yeah, the all-in pledge is $370, which is kind of insane. I spent about $150, so I got the standard pledge with the minis. And like I said, for me, obviously, if I was to get into this, I would get the everything new pledge, which is $160, which it has basically everything and the terrain pack. But I'm not spending $160 on any game, let alone an update to an existing game. And obviously, I don't know. Let's see if they actually tell you what's in the upgrade pack itself. Let's see here, Brado's video, standard pack. Let's see here, gameplay, the drone mats. I don't really know. I'm obviously, what we're looking at is, so my imagine is the upgrade pack is going to have basically a revised rule book and a revised storybook. And that's the reason why you can't just, hopefully it would be nice if there was a download where you could download. Maybe there is if I go to their, let's see here.
This is interesting. I didn't realize, I didn't know this. The GameFound did a per month.
You saw that, eh? I saw that too.
Well. That is very, very interesting. Stretch pay is available for payment amounts higher than $30. So for instance, I'm looking at the all-in pledge for $370, and you can get it for $46.25 a month, of course, for a number of months until you pay the $370, if not more, because I don't know if there is any interests. And I don't know if everybody would be qualified for that.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that as well. Now, looking at their site here, there is mission tracker, game status, tracker here, Sarge Victoria's cheat sheet. There is nothing on their files on Sarge Vicarios to list rule or bug fixes. So like I said, a little disappointing for me. This is not a title I'd be interested in. I still have, I think I'd want to play the old game a little bit. I didn't, but yeah, that is Ocarios. It is currently going well. I think it's not going to cross 1 million. I think it'll be 6, 7, it'll probably be 700, 800,000 by the time they are all said and done.
Well. Okay.
Have you played any new games?
Yes. Actually.
You want to go first? Or...
Well, I played, have played a game called Cyber Tower of Doom. It's a 1 or 2 people play. I also play One Card Dungeon. I think I spoke about that in the last episode.
Yep, we have.
But this Cyber Tower Doom, or Cyber Doom Tower, whatever it's called, I can't remember. It's from the same company. And it's a platformer. I really like it because it follows the same kind of 8-bit look of the Commodore 64, MSX, that kind of video game from yesteryear. And in this, you are meant to be going up a tower to get rid of an evil AI who wants to destroy the planet, because apparently that's what AIs want to do. I don't know who programmed them to want to do it, but there they go. So that's what you have to do, and you have to jump from place to place, gather some resources, getting rid of the robots that are there to protect every floor of the tower. And once you get all the way to the top, hopefully destroy the AI. In order to do that, you need to roll a few dice. And when you roll the dice, if you roll higher than the resistance level of the robot that you are fighting, then you can go up and then you can avoid them. There's one thing though, and is that when you roll the dice, you can accumulate them. So, for instance, let's say that you need 5 successes to get rid of a robot and you roll 3 dice. It is not clear if you keep the success from the first attack and then perform the second attack, and they accumulate from one attempt to destroy the machine to the next. It's the only thing that I'm not sure about. The game is quite fun, though. I think it plays very nicely. It's quite hard, as in very hard. But I don't particularly mind that because these kind of games from this company, they play like jigsaw puzzles. So it's kind of once you know what kind of movement you have to go to, the only variance that you get, the only variations is because you have to shuffle a small deck of cards. So you may not be getting the same resources time and time again. So it's not strictly a puzzle. But if you follow certain steps, you are more likely to succeed if you get the resources that you need in time. So it gives that little bit of an edge. I did enjoy the game quite a lot. It plays between 1 and 2 people, and it's a cooperative game. So it is quite interesting. It plays about 20 minutes, half an hour perhaps if you're slow on it, and it will take you about, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes to learn to play it. It's a very, very quick one. It looks absolutely gorgeous. And if you are tempted to get it, which I would suggest if you're looking for a 1 or 2 co-op game, then I would also suggest that you get the neoprene mat because it looks amazing, and above all, it helps keep all the cards, of which there are a fair number, because each floor comes with a card, and you're going to be jumping between them quite a lot. It keeps the cards steady on the surface. So yes, it's not the most comfortable add-on to have because you have to roll it to put it in a drawer or whatever. It's not like having a board that you just flip and fold and put in your box, but it really looks amazing, and it's going to be the next game that I'm going to do a TikTok review about, so you can see everything about it. So that's the latest game that I've played, and hopefully tomorrow I'm going to be playing Sushi Boat by Japanime Games. I am really excited.
Finally, I'm looking forward to this.
I was hoping to play last week, but as you know, because we didn't record, I had a massive migraine. Usually they last me between 2 and 3 days, and I couldn't really bear sitting at the table playing with my friends or anybody else for that matter. But tomorrow,
Well,
hopefully, that'll happen.
nice. For me, the one thing also I want to add, I sent a message out to my friend Jonathan Thwaites that owns Games, and the Kickstarter for Stars of Vicarios is listed as Open Owl Games. So I don't know if was Open Owl. Is that because at no point, as I told them numerous times, doesn't actually mean anything. It never did. So I don't know whether or not they decided to see about trying to make it mean something. So I don't know if Open Owl is supposed to be a part of but I thought that was interesting. I asked him, and I'm waiting for an answer. For me, the first thing I'm going to talk about is Cryo.
That looks gorgeous.
Yes, it actually is. I am fascinated with this art style. It's becoming a bit more common. I don't know exactly what it is. Someone was telling me that it's a watercolor style, and I have seen titles that have employed similar styles. There's a lot of comics, really good comics. If you ever read anything Vertigo, Trans and Metropolitan employs that same art style. There is an anime, it's an animated show on HBO called Scavenger's Reign, which also has a very similar visual style. The board matches that style as well. Everything, the cards. I especially liked the double trays. Now, this game is very interesting. I always find it fascinating whenever they create a game that is so clearly a cooperative title, but they make it competitive because they feel they need to make it competitive. And what I mean by that is a game where the theme seems to point to a game that should be cooperative. Terraforming Mars. We're going to terraform Mars, but it's actually a free market economic game, not a game about science. And that's the reason why it's a competitive game, because it's an economic game. And that's the reason why they've never come out. Only recently they came out with a cooperative version of Terraforming Mars, because Terraforming Mars is the end state, not the win state. And another game called Black Angel, which is a space game where the spaceship called Black Angel is heading towards destination, and you're all playing artificial intelligence trying to keep your population alive. Pardon me. But you would think on a singular spaceship that the AIs would be working together to ensure. But to make it a competitive game, they don't do that. Cryo, I can almost think of Cryo as being in the same vein as these titles. So in the game, which I will show the board the best of my ability, I will flip this up around to see if you can see it. Once again, very beautiful board. You have crash landed. You're on a spaceship. We can actually quite literally see the story of what happened on the cover. As the ship plummets into the atmosphere, you've crash landed. All of the crew is in cryogenic little modules, and you get little cryogenic little pods right there, a little cryogenic pod. Okay. And by the time sunrise hits, sunrise is going to basically, it's so hot, it's going to scorch the entire planet and kill everybody on the planet. Okay. So the objective is to get as many of these cryo tubes underground as possible. And here you're in the ground. And you do that, but that by developing your system. You have these wonderful looking drones, and they actually made these drones look really cool. That's actually really neat. They made them look like drones.
Oh yes, that's nice.
It's a nice design. And so this is a worker placement. You fly these drones over to these service modules that have been set up, and you do that as a way of recovering your color-coded cryo modules, landing them on your temporary area, or putting them on spaceships, because you can actually build ground aircraft. And these aircraft can be placed above your board to give you a passive ability, or you can put them on the bottom of the board, which allows you to put cryo modules. And when they're full, you can send them underground. And basically the game is a time, because the game ends when sun rises. And at that point in time, anyone who's on the surface gets killed, and you get points based off of how well you built your engine, how many modules you brought in, and it's also a area control, which means every cave, whoever has more cryo tubes in a cave gains control over that cave, and then you get points. So it's about determining who is the better artificial intelligence system by how many people you brought in. Now, when you look at the concept, spaceship crashes, and AI has to try to rescue as many people as possible by recovering old systems from the crash and getting them underground. That you would think would be a cooperative experience, but because it's a board game and they didn't want to make it cooperative, they made it competitive, so there'd be a winner. So it should be noted that this game reminds me of several titles. It reminds me of Alien Frontiers, which is another game where you are sending modules to a planet to gain control of it. In that case, you're sending down colonies to take control of an alien planet. Here, it's cryogenic stuff. It's a little bit of engine building, because you basically send out your 3 guys. It looks like you get more, but you get 3 drones at the beginning, and you never get any more. But when you recall the drones, you place them back on their thing, And as time goes on, you can land them on specific locations. And when you land them, you gain the benefit underneath. So as you unlock more of this board, you can do more. So there is some engine building, right? There is resource management, which you track across the bottom, not too dissimilar to terraforming Mars. So you basically are getting modules, getting resources, spending resources, all while trying to bring your cryo modules. And there's some take that I guess they had to throw in that you can sabotage the other players. So it should be noted that I won my game with Nicole by bringing in the vast majority of people. So as a game, I actually think this is very good. I'm going to give it about an 8 out of 10.
Wow, that's not bad at all.
It is a very entertaining game. I love the theme. I love the ideas, the mechanics. It looks beautiful. I find it interesting. The whole point of the game, as I stated, is about moving these guys out, gaining resources, unlocking and upgrading your base, grabbing these ships so you can then transport these ships to people, and so forth. And then the game kind of ends. You know when the game is going to end. It's never a surprise. You know when sun is going to pop up, and when the sun pops up, you basically have one last chance to get stuff in there. So area control, and so forth, very much like Alien Frontiers, except there's a few more bells and whistles. The theming is slightly different. It looks fantastic. My only caveat is it feels weird that this game is not cooperative. It's the same thing as Black Angel. When I play the game, I'm going, why are these AIs on board one spaceship competing with each other? That's something only man would do. And even mankind would like, look, we have to bring as many people underground as possible. And you would think we wouldn't be trying to compete. It would, because and the funny thing is that I showed perfectly well how you could do that. And a good example of that is in Terraforming Mars. It's a game trying to promote free market capitalism. It is. It's laissez-faire free market capitalism. You could do anything you want.
Yes.
You never get punished by some government for crossing a line. You could drop comets on opposing colonies. You can go to war. You could kill millions of people on Mars in your process to get terraforming Mars, as long as you get to the end state. That's the goal. Get to the end state. Terraformers Mars. Get the temperature up. Get the oxygen level. Get the water tiles out. Those are the three win states. And as a result, there are turns where you spend more time building up your infrastructure because it's the better corporation that wins, not the better Mars, because there's only one Mars. And because of that, very often you will delay terraforming the actual end state in order to secure yourself to have more points, right? So when you play on your own, the game says you have until round 14 to terraform Mars. It should be noted that when you play it competitively, like a normal standard game of terraforming Mars, the game never ends at that point. The game ends past that point because you're spending so much time developing your infrastructure. You're not focusing on terraforming Mars. And so it takes longer to terraform Mars as a competitive free market game than if you did it by yourself. And when you play it as a cooperative game, which you can, there's a new update, and there's also one that I created that's been around for a few years. The actual time it takes to terraforming Mars vastly reduces, therefore inadvertently proving that a free market system is not the solution to create economic growth. Cooperation will always do better. If you were to terraform Mars cooperatively, these corporations would not be as successful, but terraforming Mars would be cheaper and would have been done faster. And so when I look at games like Cryo and Black Angel, I go, if we all worked together and didn't think about points, we would have saved everybody, and nobody would have lost. So I find it hilarious that Cryo once again is this game that pushes this competitive model while inadvertently proving that a cooperative model would have succeeded.
It would be interesting to have a few games made out of realistic economic models. Not on terraforming a planet that we are not likely to get to in a few decades. But some real things like developing, the Amazon, for instance, or republishing, I don't know, all the forests in Canada that had been completely ruined by bitumen extraction, and made it an economic model like a monopoly tried to do, to teach people about rental taxes, and prove that if you actually work together to republish, to redo the Amazon, it would be a lot quicker than if you just do it by yourself, or by planting one tree or two trees if you crop another one. I think that would be very, very cool to see. So
yeah, I
there you
find
go.
it fascinating. But you're right. It's just the irony about making a free a game that shows you how screwed up the system really is. Like Monopoly, people would take the wrong advice and go, "Oh, so this is how I win," and they're like, you realize that the damage you caused. I go, yes, but I won, and that's all that matters. The other thing I have behind me is my Kickstarter that finally showed up.
Oh, so that's why you're displaying it so proudly, because it's been how long?
It's a year late. It's taken 2.5 years. I think it's 2.5 years. It could be just 2 years, but I do know that, obviously, for those people who don't know, Into the Box Games, they stretched themselves very thin. They had a very successful Kickstarter with the first Subterra. Launched a few other games that did okay, did very well with Subterra too, but they spent so much money in their building a company, building their infrastructure, that they ran out. So suddenly the vast majority of backers didn't get their titles. And then to make matters worse, they did the unforgivable thing that a few other companies I know of did, looking at you, Palladium, that sold off their extras in retail in order to get the money they needed instead. So I could have bought this game for the last 8 or 9 months at least off of a shelf. I know it because I went to a game store in Salmon Arm, which is a small town, and I saw a copy of Subterra for sale, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
I remember you mentioned that, and people even
yeah.
asking if you wanted them to buy you copies, and you said, "Oh, I'm gonna wait."
No, I refused. So I waited, and eventually a new company had purchased all the properties from Into the Box, and they said, we are going to fulfill this Kickstarter, which was so nice of them. But they did ask us to repay for shipping. I had no problem. I was kind of expecting just to get a base copy. I forgot I got the all-in pledge. So it should be noted that there are. So this is an all-in pledge. If you had gotten it an all-in pledge, this is what you would have gotten. Here's the core game of Subterra 2. Now, for those people who don't really know, actually, this is not the core. Which one's the core? This is what Nicole and I couldn't figure out. We couldn't figure out which one's the actual core. It is this one. Okay, no, this is the core game. So this is the core Subterra 2. And now, one thing I find fascinating about it, it's very different than Subterra 1. Subterra 1 has, like, I think 60 some tiles.
Mhm.
So you are exploring this cave network until you can find your way out. And the only way to do it is to go through the tiles. There are significantly less tiles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are only 30 tiles in this game. So there are half as many tiles. So it doesn't seem to have as much exploration. But it's also a completely different thing. Instead of you spelunking into an old cave, you are actually entering an ancient temple in order to retrieve these artifacts, steal a treasure like Indiana Jones, and get out before the volcanic eruptions. Like, the whole point is to gain this little device and then get out. So the tiles, for example, aren't concealed. You lay out the tiles as the game displays itself, and then as you flip the tiles over, they become lava. Because at some point in the game, the volcano erupts and the entire temple gets filled with lava. So you have to retrieve these 3 items, go to the temple core, get the artifact, and then escape before the lava kills you all. So it's fascinating. I cannot wait to give this a try. But as you can see, this is not the only thing I got.
No,
the other thing I got
can see it.
was Arima's Light. Harness the arcane power of the circle to deliver a powerful arc into the heart of the volcano and permanently destroy the evil that dwells within. This one adds 5 more tiles and a bunch of cards. Then we have Typhon Wakes, which is battle alongside the studious faculty against the risen volcano god. So now you're dealing with some heavy paranormal elements. There are way more tiles in that one. And then we have, of course, that they would include all the minis. So this is the Inferno's Edge one, and there you can see the artifact, a little metal artifact here. You can kind of see it there. That's actually metal.
Mm-hmm.
The This one is the Arma's Light. Oops, sorry, bring it up. This is the Arma's Light.
Okay.
Right, and then finally the Typhon Wakes. So you won't be needing any of the simplistic wooden meeples inside the core box because you have all of these. So that is all, but that wasn't at all because apparently one of the other all-ins is another expansion for the core Subterra. This one's called Incubation. So for those people who don't know, Subterra 1 actually technically has a story, I guess you can say. And the story is you, a bunch of people, land in, they basically fall into this cave. You're already professional divers, and you're trying to find your way out. There, and then it's assumed within the story that not all of you make it out. So the first expansion is you returning there to find the remains of the two people you left behind, grab and then find your way out. At the same time, there is a corporation trying to get in, get information, and so forth. And then the last expansion involves you going into the cave voluntarily instead of going into the top. You're actually going in through the exit now. And this time you have to reach certain points in the cave network to drop explosives and then escape and detonate the explosives and bring the entire cave network down to destroy the creatures that are within. And that was the last one. So this one here is called Incubation, and it is literally set after the events of the first three games. Many years after the cave was destroyed, you have been contacted by a mysterious stranger with a desperate mission. Something terrifying grows in the ashes. Only your team has experience to recover the evidence and escape in one piece. So now you're going in to recover these eggs that have been left behind within the cave network. So that is something that if you haven't played Subterra, or if you have played Subterra and have played through all three missions, you can now play the Incubation. But that is what I got. I have a video on the unboxing, which I will be sending to you so you can post it. And you can see our reaction to getting this massive set. So that is Subterra 2, 2 years after, at least over 2 years since the launch of the original game.
Well. I mean, I'm really glad that they've managed to release it, even though it's been such an arduous and tortuous way. Now the only thing to be hoped is that it's actually a good game.
We'll see. This first Subterra is one of my all-time favorite games of all time, without fail. One of my favorite games. Probably second favorite cooperative game. It could be first, but it's definitely high up there. So I'm hoping that this is good. If not, I guess we'll find out soon enough. But I will say that Cryo is definitely a good game. I just think it's funny that there's no cooperative version for it. It would be interesting to see if you could do it. I guess you probably could do a cooperative version. And in fact, the funny thing is, with a cooperative version, it would you just remove all of the gotcha elements and reduce the timer down, and then find some way of encouraging cooperation without doing much else to change the game, which I find interesting. But yeah, it's fascinating. I'm glad that we got back into some board games. I don't have a lot of Kickstarters left. I think the new Seventh Continent might be the last thing. Actually, that's not true. I do know that I have the Robotech miniatures game done by Kids Logic, which some people are worried will not be delivered. That would definitely be upsetting if that ends up being the case. But I think if I were to let's see, what do I have here? What do I have here for board games? What hasn't been delivered? Oh no, right. I backed Forsaken. That is Game Trays' only first and currently only internally made board game. So that's the game that Noah developed. So Forsaken, expected delivery December of 2023. Not a chance. Not a chance. They haven't even shown a prototype of this title. So the Forsaken estimated delivery 2023. I'm gonna guess we're not gonna see it until summer because I haven't even seen. When was the last time we had an update of this thing? Let's see what else we have here. Robotech, Macross, that one I just mentioned. Let's see what other ones. Let's see here. We got Canvas. We got the Ares expansion. Yeah, Seven Citadel might be it. Seven Citadel and Forsaken might be. Oh, I guess I should mark Subterra 2 as having arrived. So there you go. So when it comes to delivered, what about spacecraft? That got delivered. Oh, I talked about that one. Wow, so many things have been delivered. I'm so happy. There's so many things that haven't been delivered, but what do we have left here? Seven Citadel hasn't been delivered, and Godspeed hasn't delivered. Riddle Registry, those are the Sundering. We talked about that. But so yeah, when it comes to board games, that's it. Forsaken, Robotech, and Seventh Continent are the only titles I have left. Forsaken, when was the last time it was updated? It was updated November 3rd. But it is. I'm trying to see what the update. Their timeline. Okay, assets. Okay, so their time. Okay, this is their timeline. Kickstarter campaign ends. Blah blah blah. Late stage. Digital proofs approved. Okay, so they got their digital proofs approved in October of 2023. So they have their assets. So now they're expecting the print proofs to arrive sometime in November. Okay, we've got 9 days left. And then they'll do mass production for December, freight on water by December 2023, January, freight reaches distribution, 100% fulfillment within quarter 2024. So this is what's actually going to happen. The print proofs probably won't show up now until probably early December. Mass production will start probably in mid-December. It will not finish until the end of January, if not early February, because you have Christmas and Chinese New Year's to deal with. And when Chinese New Year's kicks in, nothing gets done. It's going to hit freight in the water by March. It's going to take a month or at least to reach its destination. I don't know who's doing distribution, but whoever does distribution, it'll take 3 weeks of them going through the boxes. I hope it's not Bridge. If it's Bridge, you can add another 3 months on that. My guess, I'm going to write down my guess. I will get Forsaken in. I'm going to go right now and say July. I know part of me is going to say June, but I'm going to say my official guess will be July, but there's a good chance I might get it in June. So that is my guess. I will get it in July. So I think it'll be 6 months, which, by the way, isn't bad for a board game to be only 6 months late. That'll actually be somewhat of a relief. I asked my backers just recently that I wanted to go into my Ultra Modern 5, which is hiding underneath that, and go in and rebuild Ultra Modern 5 in InDesign and update the errata, update all the rules, and add in the content that people have asked to be amended. I said, I want to do this. It's going to add a month to the delivery date. Are you okay with that? And nobody said, nah, I want it now. Everybody said, we love this. You go do it. We can wait an extra month for a better product. I had more responses than I ever had for any comment before. Everyone was 100% supportive. So I've done that. I'm about 9 chapters into it, but that does mean I said, as I sent an update to people going like, here's where we are. Yeah, things are getting pushed back for obvious reasons. Just recently, the artist doing my adventures, his father passed away, and he said, "Hey, I'm not gonna be able to complete this project on your deadline because of this." I said, "You know what? You go ahead. You deal with you. The project will be waiting for you to come back. If we push it back a month or two, it's fine."
That's fair enough. I think usually, I mean, unless you deal with some assholes, which they do exist, but usually if you give people a proper explanation as to why things are getting delayed, any kind of normal human being would understand. But then I'm saying this after seeing how people complained about a friend of mine not delivering on time in brackets after her husband died. So that was a bit like, yeah, you are a fucking asshole, which they do exist.
Yeah,
quite a lot.
I think the ratio of like the more you get 15, 20,000 backers, the more you get 1,000, 2,000 backers, I think you are definitely going to be seeing that more and more. That being said, that becomes a very small minority. My backers, I've not had more than 1,000 backers for a single project, but I don't know where Seventh Continent is currently sitting at. I think if because I think one thing I'll say about that title is that when they launched their Kickstarter, people were freaking out because they had their release date at an extremely large number. And they were like, was because we were telling people when this was actually going to deliver. Now it should be noted, their last update was October 31st, mass production update on October 31st. And it's looking like, yeah, so it's going into mass production. So they're ahead of Forsaken. So you're probably wondering, what was the delivery date for Seventh Continent supposed to be? It was supposed to deliver. Oh, you're gonna love this. Estimated delivery, May of 2022.
Oh, I can do a lot better than that.
So they are a year behind. Like they had a long God, how long have they been waiting? May of 2022. When was this title launched? It must have been.
I have a game that's 10 years late.
Okay. Holy crap! No, I don't have that.
I have a game called Pyramid, and it's never gonna deliver, of course.
Obviously, it's never gonna. Oh, I mean,
but it's
if I was to,
that was 10 years ago.
Yeah, but I mean, there's like, at least with my time. I mean, if I were to go into my Kickstarter and go through everything. Oh yeah, I mean, I don't have any board games that have completely crapped themselves.
I do.
I think canceled. I didn't back any of those. I canceled that. So I'm trying to think here. Actual titles I backed. I will say that there are maybe 3 or 4 pledges, but none of them are actually board games. I've actually been very, very lucky for that. Seven Continent still hasn't delivered. What else? And where is it? I'm hiding here. There's a video game called Space Odyssey. That's never delivering. That is now 5 years late. So that's never delivering. That's basically, that was a scam. I got scammed on that one. The iBand, which was supposed to claim, was supposed to train your brain how to do lucid dream. That was delivery August 2017. So we're 6 years late. That was never going to get delivered. And then there were a few other ones that got tossed into the fray. That was unsuccessful. Successful. The D&D documentary, $40. They took my money. It was successful. That's dead. So I'm never seeing that video. And unsuccessful, canceled. Morning Quest was canceled. Successful. I didn't back that. Machina canceled that pledge. Successful. Frosthaven, I didn't actually back that. Dead Reckoning, didn't actually back that. Canceled. Yeah, no, like I said, I've only been screwed over about 2 or 3 times, and none of those were board games. That being said, I have received games that were half-baked, almost completely broken, unplayable, and overall just a mess. But at least they did show up something.
Well, this thing, Pyramid Earth Sphere, it says here estimated delivery October 2013.
When was the last update?
Let's just check. Just for fun, shall we?
What?
Let's check just for fun. Actualizations, 154 of them. Oh, the last one was on the 21st of January 2020.
They were still updating as far back as 2020?
They delivered the STL files for the 3D printing of the minis of the game. And they say, we will continue to work on the postage problem and will update again as soon as we have a solution. 3 years on, I wonder how many times they play, oh, COVID stopped us from having a solution.
Yeah, COVID was a great scapegoat for a lot of them, unfortunately.
Yeah. Comments, there are 5,582. Of which, of
Probably
course,
all
I
nice.
am not going to read them all. But somebody 29 days ago said, I had invested that $110 back in 2013. The way things have gone, I would have $113 now. No, you wouldn't, KMB. You would have spent them. Be honest with yourself. But I don't have a game either way, and I could really use $113 right now. I hope that's not because you're in any nasty situation, mate. Really. But I come here to look at comments every time I am tempted to pledge on Kickstarter. That has probably saved me thousands of dollars. So thanks, I guess. Rob Wilco says, Happy 10th anniversary. Founded May 14th, 2013. What a ride. There is such a level of, of sarcasm within this. That's funny. So anyway, people are still leaving comments. And somebody a year ago, oh bless you, David, for your sweet innocence. Is this game even worth paying the additional shipping for? Has anyone played it? May. Seriously, no, it's not worth paying any extra for because they're just gonna keep your money just like they did in the first place. So no, don't pay any money. Anyway, that's my longest non-delivered game ever. A freaking decade.
I'm reading the comments on the iBand. It's hilarious. They people are still commenting every 4 or 5 days. Somebody comments. It's hilarious how much. Like I said, money's gone.
Just get used to the idea. I seriously, I do feel bad for people who've been. I'm not going to say the word con because that's strong. They may have fallen into genuine troubles in the company, but the people who've been affected by this kind of thing, me myself, I have been more than once. So I don't feel, but you know what? You have to get used to the idea that that is what happens with some Kickstarter projects, and that Kickstarter comes with a risk. And sometimes, most times, you win. Sometimes, just a few, you lose. But anyway, um, what else? Because I don't have anything else to talk about.
That's up. That's all I had.
Oh yeah. Oh,
we have an hour.
No, we have to finish the podcast. Terrible. Well, 1 hour and 7 minutes. That's not bad for us at all. We normally go about 90 minutes, but no, today this is a short one, humans.
This is a normal one, you mean?
Yeah, by standards. So anyway, let us know what you think about the podcast. Say hi, please. We'd love to hear from you. Podcast@gmsmagazine.com. There will be some interviews very, very soon. I just have to get my ass into gear and organize them. And soon,
well, we had a really good one last time.
We did. Soon, very soon indeed, I am going to drag meet on the 2nd of December for the first time in 3 years. I'm going to go back 3 or 4 years. I think I went back in 2020 or 2019. I can't remember. 2019, 2020, there wasn't one for COVID reasons. But I'm looking forward to seeing my friends there. I'm going to take the camera with me and hopefully do a few more amateurish interviews than the ones that we do at Spiel. But I'm going to be talking to people. I'm very, very much looking forward to that.
Awesome.
So, humans, thank you. Remember, I am still on Twitter, or I am at GMS Magazine. On Facebook, I am at GMS Magazine. Also, there will be links, which I promise I am going to update this week. And let me know. I'd love to hear from you.
And this is Chris from Deus Ex Machina. I'm on all social media channels under Deus Ex Machina, and you can find me there. Finally, I'm back on most social media channels.
And hopefully to stay.
Hopefully to stay. Thanks a lot, folks.